Okay, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Today we're trying a bit of a world first. So if you think I'm not quite looking into the camera, it's because we're live streaming over a couple of channels at the same time. Because we need to test something here. We need to see exactly what's going on. Because for those of you who've been paying attention, you'll realise that there's a lot of shenanigans going on. There's a lot of skullduggery. And we need to get to the bottom of all of it. So we set up this little experiment, if you will, of live streaming across a couple of channels. We're going to see what happens. Whether this censorship is like absolute. Because it seems to be very concerning the way things are going on right now. I think everybody's data deserves to be protected, and that they've got the right themselves to decide how and when that data is being accessed or used. And if it's used without their consent and without their knowledge, there's in fact laws for that. This country, believe it or not, the United Kingdom, has some good laws on paper. But the problem is that it only seems to be on paper, and putting it on paper means that nobody's reading it. Nobody pays attention. Like, people will come on, they'll look at a video and they'll go, oh, what's this about? Oh, it's just some guy talking things. And they'll switch off immediately. This is a massive problem. So in order to get past all the problems that we've got, we're going to have to define a few things. One of them being the situation that we find ourselves in, on the internet, where, people can make a video about things, it seems, and they'll get millions of views and millions of hits and millions of likes. And when you ask yourself, well, what's particularly special about these people who've done these things in that video that's received 1 million views or likes? And most of the time, absolutely nothing out of the ordinary has taken place. It's just it's literally like we're all pretending to a 5-year-old. How well done, that's such a brilliant picture. It's like that when people patronize people and give them far more credit than is worthy or due, and why is that? Why do we have a society of people, for example, I was hearing about something, and I might even post a link. I was hearing about something where in America, I think it is, could be wrong, but in America or somewhere like that, might be Australia, a woman, I think it might have been Australia actually, a woman and her friend, her best male friend, got into a bit of an argument, apparently. And the reason they got into an argument, it's alleged, is that the man said to the woman, go into the kitchen and make me a sandwich. Now, it seems that we're at a point in history where asking someone to make you a sandwich is being met with psychopathic behavior, psychopathic responses, because her response wasn't even to tell him to make his own sandwich, make your own damn sandwich or something like that, or, because there was no force involved. He wasn't forcing her to do these things. He said this to her, and her response was, she didn't take the joke. She decided she's going to pour petrol on him and set him on fire. Now, I don't know about you, but to me, that's a psychopathic response, isn't it? That's not a normal response. That's not normal behavior, is it? So why is that? Why is that she responded that way? That's point number one, right? And I'm getting to a point about all of this behavior. But then the story's gone out now, and she's actually been charged with that, and actually the court has sentenced her. But what's interesting is the fact that when this story went online, there seemed to be a lot more sympathy for the woman who'd committed the crime. She committed a crime, pouring petrol on her best friend, who happened to be a man. But because he's a man, it seems that there's absolutely no sympathy given to him. And I think that's part of the problem. I think We need to look at our society and start seriously testing people for the signs of being a psychopath. Because there was over 200,000 or 300,000 comments, right, on this woman's post, all apparently praising the fact that, you know, she'd done this. She'd burned her friend alive. He's now in a coma, could die. You know, she's been sentenced to prison, so even the court sees that she's wrong. But you see how public opinion, right, is that somehow, this guy who said to his friend, go into the kitchen and make me a sandwich, now she's being allowed to commit criminal acts and everybody's okay with that. So I've got a question to ask. What is wrong with people? What is wrong with people, especially, it seems, women that look at that information and then decide they don't care about whether a man has been hurt or not. They only care about if something happens to a woman. And that seems to be part of the problem. These are things that trigger people instantly. They're triggered. But they don't look at the fact that I'm just making a point here. Because I, you know, often get accused, like many people get accused when you ask a question. Oh, well, you're a hater. You're a Nazi. You're a this or you're a that. Rather than listen to actually what's being explained to them. And this is actually becoming a persistent problem where we're actually having to look at it in this way. People who have knowledge are starting to view the rest of the world as having very, very poor knowledge. Their knowledge base is such a low level that it actually affects the way things can be done on this planet. In other words, there's so many people who you could be classed as retarded that we can't get anything done. And this is why we can't have nice things, because the people of low intellect, low care, as well as low intellect, don't help to make anything happen. They just exist. They just exist. And anything that's going on that actually deserves some attention, you know, some support, because it's important, what are people doing? What are they doing? Well, they're behaving like psychopaths is what they're doing. When you look at the things that they claim is important, the things they say that are important, like, you know, being a good person. Well, whenever there's a news story, it seems, where somebody's done something that they shouldn't have done, and you would expect that the majority of people, like 99.999% of all people, will be fully supportive of the right thing being done. When people claim all the time that they're good people, yeah, I'm a good person, they'll say. They'll always say that. But the test of whether you're a good person or not is, what have you done that can be classed as doing something good? What have you done? You know, I want to know, right, what is the problem? You know, because you got censorship and then you've also got people running away. Censorship, well, we can explain that. The criminals don't want anyone to know. So that's why they're doing that. But how do we explain the behaviour of people who will look at something, know that it's important, right, and do nothing about it? What about those people? What exactly is wrong with them? Can we diagnose what's wrong with the people? Why they think it's okay to ignore everything? One person can solve all of that, and then let's say one person does, because, again, I keep telling you, it's not that I need you to do it for me. Never needed anyone to do anything like that for me. But it's very, very, very telling, isn't it? What kind of society we actually live in, where not only is censorship rife, censorship is like, it's like the daily thing that they do. Get up in the morning, censor everybody. Get up in the morning, spread some malicious lies and propaganda. Get up in the morning, steal everything that is valuable, and then hide the fact that everything has been stolen by the fact that this technology can be used in such a way as to hide things. Important information that's not getting out there. You know, the media, it's just like they've got a one-dimensional, one brain cell. And everything that they're talking about isn't even about this country. They want to talk about every other country, but what's happening here? They don't want to talk about anything that's happening in the United Kingdom. They want to talk about everybody else. Now, why is that? Why is that? Why do people prefer to pretend that there's not problems here where we live? That it's affecting people here where we live. And then people will look for these gatekeeper heroes. The heroes that you're given, which, you know, at the end of the day, what do these people actually know? What do they know how to do? You know? And again, the way so-called Britishness and things like that, the idea of what we're supposed to be, right? Well, even forget about that for a minute, because that seems to be too controversial for people to agree on. By design, deliberately, intentionally, to divide. And what are people doing about it? Absolutely nothing. You know, it feels like absolute cowardice. It feels like something that disgusts you. And it should disgust you that people are actually that cowardly, that unwilling to do anything for something that's important. And maybe they seem to think, well, it doesn't affect me directly, so here comes this, I'm going to use my selfish card. Yeah, it's a bit like the race card. It's always selfish. It's always about something bullshit, yeah, and not a real thing that we're here to try and solve. It's just a divisive politics where no one could discuss anything anymore. No sense is going to be found today, everybody, because now somebody's introduced something into the discussion that has nothing to do with it. You know? The distraction tactics and the things like that people allow. Of course they allow it. Yeah? Of course they allow it. When you talk to them one-to-one, do you acknowledge it exists? Of course, they acknowledge it exists. So what is, in fact, the problem? What is the problem? And who has the problem, really? Because, like I say, you're all going to go through all of this next. You always do. You always do. The fact that you sit back selfishly, as if to wait for the result, as if somehow that benefits you, being on the outside looking in, you know, and saying to yourself, well, the kind of society that we live in when something happens is absolutely tyrannical and fascist and selfish and greedy and merciless and cruel and unkind. And the more you tell people and you put the mirror in front of their face, they cannot stand it. This is the problem with the British people. They are like Dorian Gray. If they ever see their true reflection of how wicked and evil and selfish and uncaring they are, even though they think we're the best, British people are the best, we're the most kind, loving people, we're the loving people. Everybody says, how are you doing, love? No, they don't. No, they don't. No, they don't. See, those are caricatures. It's like a Cockney caricature. It's not real. It's not real. Nobody talks like that. Nobody acts like that. It's not real. But you see, everybody likes to carry that because it's like a form of identity, like Irish people. We're all shamrocks. We're all shamrocked people, which is just racism, isn't it? You're assigned this racism and then you try your best to try and defend it, even though it cannot be defended. It's indefensible. It's indefensible what's going on. Yeah? It's indefensible the fact that people will idolize absolute garbage, mind-numbing bullshit day in, day out. They idolize it. They worship it. They glorify it. Yeah? And none of those people are actually benefiting you in any way. But when it comes to actual knowledge of how to do things and giving support to things that will benefit you now and in the future, where are you? It's pathetic. It's yet more evidence of the ways in which censorship is being used politically to damage people, because those people are the only ones, it seems, with a brain who can challenge these people. Whereas you'll all sit there and you kind of guess. You ain't done it. That's your thing. You ain't done it. That's why you doubt it. That's why you sit there, like, completely apathetic and indifferent. Yeah? And then you claim, like, we haven't got any good leaders in this country. Are you a good leader? Are you, people, a good leader? Based on what? Based on your imaginary bullshit, it seems. Based on the fact that you imagine yourself to be something that you're not. Having not gone on the journey. Having not been transformed by the journey. Sitting there waiting for some Jesus to float down. Yeah? That's what you're waiting for, innit? Imaginary. Imaginary. That's why they've got a lot of people confused. That's why they've got people denouncing what the real meaning of Christianity is supposed to be for the people who live here, so that we're able to live with a common shared belief system. Based on what? Based on morals. Since people haven't got any morals in 2025, yeah, they call themselves moral. In what way are you moral? In what way? I see nothing. I see inaction. I see laziness. I see apathy. I see indifference. I see silence. Silence like cowards. And I'm sure history is repeating itself. How many men throughout history have accused you, people, of being absolute, abject cowards? To the highest degree. If there was medals for the opposite of valor, right? Medals of cowardice, you'd all be stacked up, wouldn't you? You'd all be covered head to toe in medals for cowardice. Because that's what you are. That's what you do. Those are your actions. And when you sit there, doing nothing, not supporting, well, karma will be coming for you. Because it's not like I actually need anybody, like I said. I'm used to doing this by myself and I still win. You know? I was just giving you guys opportunity to help yourselves. You don't want to be helped? That's fine. You sit there in your ignorance and watch. Watch whatever I decide to let you know. Because that's how it's always been, hasn't it? Yeah? Because let's face it, none of you out there can actually teach me anything. What can you teach me? What can you tell me about how this is supposed to go when you don't know? And who are you waiting for? Who are you relying on to tell you this information? What is your actual problem? You know? It seems to me, yeah, that there's a whole heap of discriminating bias favoritism. And I have to liken the behavior and the personality and the feeling of it to something. We all use words to describe these things. So this is the word that I've decided describes the characteristics of the people who are doing this, which is most people, it seems. Yeah, online. Not in real life, but online, yeah, where the deception, where the censorship, where the fraudulent hiding of information and suppressing of things goes on. Yeah? So, in the internet, where a lot of people seem to express themselves differently, it seems. Right? The characteristics of a psychopath, what is that? Well, we'll look at it. It's a personality disorder characterized by a lack of empathy. A lack of empathy, remorse and guilt, often accompanied by manipulative and exploitative behavior, such as using technology to exploit things, to steal data belonging to other people, claiming you haven't done it, running away, when it's self-evident that that's what's happened. You know, it's like people don't understand what music copyright is. That law there. It's like they don't understand that. And like they don't understand what trademark is. Yeah? Especially when the trademark looks exactly like me. You You know, you've got to be a special kind of retarded person to think you're going to get away with that in a world where everything's digitally traced. And if you've done it, right, you're going to get found out. You're going to get found out. Yeah? And if you try to use somebody else to do it for you for political reasons, again, you're going to get found out. And that's what's going on. And that's why they're hiding it. And it seems that many, many people out there, really, I don't even trust the fact that there's people out there who've got the right to vote when you're absolutely silent about things that matter. That's disgusting behaviour to me. That truly is disgusting behaviour. That's not humanity. That's something else. That's a nation of monsters pretending they're okay when they're not. They're actually malicious, vindictive people. You know, schadenfreuds, people who wish bad on others. That's what they seem to be. Not being helpful, are they? They're saying to be very indifferent. Yet, if the same thing was happening to them, oh, everybody rescue me. And look at how that is done in the world. So I am convinced, actually, that most people out there, the reason why things are like this is because most people are psychopaths, right? They are manipulative. And they are exploitive. Yeah? They've got no empathy, no remorse and no guilt. Yeah? Reminds me a lot of people's behaviour. Most will be impulsive, engage in risky behaviours and have a history of criminal activity. Yeah, I bet how many of you out there, yeah? Dodgy motherfuckers. Key traits, lack of empathy. Right, well, here's something to consider, right? When somebody is taking care of an autistic child, does that person need support, yes or no? You see how I allow a silence. And I bet if there was a room full of people right here, they'd all be silent. And they'd be silent until I said another word. Because this is how people are, isn't it? They're absolutely, truly, in themselves, disgusting. With fake values. And you can literally show people, you're just fake. Absolutely. Why should I respect you? Why should I respect anything about you? When this is the kind of society you're helping to create. With your apathy and your indifference. At what point are you going to actually take action? Or is it only going to be for yourself? Because in fact, you are part of the corruption, part of the problem, part of something that might even need to be eliminated from this world. Taking up opportunities that could be given to others because of your selfishness. Wanting only for yourself. Lack of empathy. Psychopaths struggle to understand or share the feelings of others. Interesting. Making it difficult for them to form genuine connections. Yeah? How many psychopaths are out there right now thinking that adding a load of friends, yeah, means actual friends? I'm under no illusion, but I'm pointing this out. Pointing this out. It needs pointing out, even when you do have actual friends and people you know in real life, and you share this kind of information. Even those ones behave like what? People who lack empathy, remorse, guilt, often accompanied by manipulative and exploitive behaviour. The psychopaths. And we're surrounded by them, aren't we? Let's be honest. Let's carry on. Because you'll start to maybe see either yourself in it or other people. Lack of remorse or guilt. Often unable to feel remorse for their actions. Like Facebook. Goes around stealing things. Yeah? Even when they cause harm to others. Yeah? There's going to be a whole heap of people out there at the moment. With what's going on in the world. A couple of things we could just talk about, but we're not going to. Yeah? Where people would say there's been a lack of remorse there. And the person who did that was a psychopath. And we'll all agree. And then when you point something else out, everyone's like, I don't know what you're talking about, mate. I don't know what you're talking about. You know, that kind of indifference there, because it wasn't damaging enough. It wasn't like a worldwide explosion, was it? It didn't affect you yet. Yeah? Or maybe because of your deep inward racist values, divisive values, politically indifferent values, you know, these things, these behaviors are just second nature now to most people. They just automatically express all of these behaviors without even questioning what they're doing and how they appear to other people. And then when people come in the face and saying, you are this, who do they get upset with? The person telling them that they are that, because they don't want to hear that. They want to live in a delusion all of their lives. And Facebook's a perfect delusion for a lot of people, innit? Thing is, there's also a real world to go with it. And in the real world, where you're causing actual damage, yeah? Those are crimes. Those are criminal behaviours. So I want to know why it is, first of all, that these criminal behaviours are going on. Because it seems to be that the people, being ignorant the way that they are complicit in the crimes being carried out. They hold just as much guilt in the same way. I'll give you an example that you'll easily understand. For the stupid people, for the people that are low intelligence, yeah? And this is how it goes. When Hitler and the Nazi SS government did what they did, all of the people of Germany were also punished. Now, why was that? Because when they failed to remove their leaders, when they allowed the things that those leaders did to happen, all of those people were judged by the same. That's the way it works, isn't it? Is that the way it works? You tell me. Right? If you've got, by association seems to be bandied about only when it suits people, innit? Only when it suits people. But if it doesn't suit them no more, now that's not being applied. Because that's part of the two-tier system. The way that people themselves, not just the government, but the people themselves are complete hypocrites. Completely biased and prejudiced in themselves. This is why they can praise a woman who sets fire to her best friend, apparently. This male was her best friend. You can't even laugh and joke with her because she takes it seriously. She's given a special pass to go set a man on fire. This has actually happened. And everybody goes on and says, well done. That'll teach him. And where's that effect? Go and look for yourself. Go and ask yourself, are you living, in fact, in a world full of psychopaths? In particular, there seems to be a gender more susceptible to psychopathic thinking, psychopathic behaviour, having no standards being applied to them whatsoever at any time. And all the standards being only applied to this group or that group. And when we talk about that, that was again created on purpose to create a division so that nobody sees it as a common problem where we're all being tricked and all being lied to and all being suppressed. Look at this, simultaneously on different channels at the same time. Please tell me how many people on Facebook at this time that they should be able to see all of this and interact in all of this. I have never seen such absolute zero in all my life. So as to prevent anybody interacting, well, let me tell you something. I'm adding more zeros to the damages which I'm going to sue. And all the people who are responsible will be found. You will be found. That's the way it works. Because that's how I found out this in the first place. You can't trick God. God isn't sleeping. And if you think you can trick God's children, you got another thing coming. That's the problem with all you people out there. You think yourselves a certain way, but you're not actually that way. And that's why it doesn't happen for you. That's why you don't know these things. So I will continue with the description of what appears to be most people in society, the psychopath, which is a personality disorder characterized by you having a lack of empathy. You You. Get used to it being you, because it is you. Because if the person, the criminal, and we're speaking about the criminal, right? Most of us would say, well, we don't expect him to have some empathy, but if he does, you know, that's merit to them. But you, the people, right? What's your excuse for being psychopaths? What's your excuse? You don't seem to have any excuse. You are psychopaths. You are heartless, uncaring bastards. And when you say it, people don't like that. I'm going to go away now. I don't want to talk to you. I don't, because, you know, it's being revealed who you are, right? And who you actually are is the only thing that either deserves a reward or a punishment. Not a case of, oh, well, we'll pretend to be your best buddy. Like, ain't working like that, is it? No. So, we will continue. Psychopaths struggle to understand or share the feelings of others. I mean, I guess people struggle to understand or share the feelings of others who've been stolen from, lied to, and now censored, so this information can't come out. But it's still going to come out, and you're going to get punished multiple times. I'm really good at multiplication, you know. Times something by 1,000, and look, you owe me more money. That's how it works. Yeah? Causing me more problems, I'm going to charge you more money. Takes longer for me to do things or get to where I want to be, I'm going to charge you more money. That's how it works. Yeah? And since I know that I'm dealing with psychopaths, oh, what do you think is going to happen with them? Yeah? These people who lack remorse or guilt. Manipulation and deception. Manipulating the results. Deceiving the people. Hiding the truth. Keeping eyes and ears away. But also, there's a social attitude, isn't there? A disgusting social attitude. It's like a rotten stink inside people. That they sit there with their fake selves pretending that they give a damn about anything. And I just look at them and think, you are full of shit. Completely and utterly. And the things that they care about are like things that, you know, children can deal with. Children could do that. Can you do what I'm doing? That takes a grown-up. That takes an adult. That takes someone who's investigating things and looking at things seriously. In fact, could you have built any of that? Because it seems like a lot of the envious people out there really have these hostilities, don't they? Not just to me, but to anyone who's trying to better themselves in this world. Anyone who's just trying to better themselves in this world, there's a hostility towards it. Yeah? I don't trouble other people. I try and support people. But, you know, maybe I should stop doing that based on evidence. Evidence of behavior. Evidence. People don't like that, do they? They don't like it when you show them the mirror. Because, like Dorian Gray, they suddenly realise that they are a hideous monster. And they die of embarrassment and shame. And something internally is never the same. Because these people can never, ever, ever look themselves in the eye and say that they honestly did their best. Because they didn't. They really didn't do the best. In fact, they did their worst. And of all the times to have something that you're actually defending, you have nothing that you're defending. You know, not even your own data. You don't care about your own data. How retarded do you have to be? How retarded do you have to be to go, oh, I don't care about that? You are completely out of the loop. You could, you know, there are some people that choose to live in the woods and have nothing to do with technology, like Luddites. Right? These people, and yet they're not Luddites. They're people who've got a phone. They always want to have the latest iPhone or whatever. But then when it comes to understanding how it works, they're Luddites now. Now they don't know anything. Now, it's like if you say anything that questions it, they're deathly afraid. But not of what is happening to them, but of you telling them what's happening to them. Yeah? This type of reaction. Yeah? It's like, I'm sure it's pretty much part of the having no empathy and then try to style it out. Like, you know, well, that me not caring is a completely reasonable response. Completely reasonable. And everybody agrees. Nobody agrees. Nobody agrees. Nobody agrees. Yeah? But it's just given the appearance of being made to agree because there is, in fact, political censorship. Yeah? And not just political censorship, but a form of hate crime and terrorist acts. A terrorist ideology is operating in this country. And it has, in fact, turned what used to be decent, caring human beings into absolutely selfish monsters who are cruel, uncaring, and don't do their duty. They pick and choose, you see. They'll say, oh, a woman that sets fire to her best friend, she's a hero. She's stunning and brave. Meanwhile, the guy who's dying, where's your sympathy for that? Because, in fact, you are psychopaths, aren't you? You are psychopaths. I want you to think about that for a minute, because it really offends me that people are like this, being so psychopathic. I'm not sure how to actually deal with you. You know, people who lack remorse and guilt, people who manipulate and are deceivers, superficial charm and grandiosity. Yeah? They may present a charming and confident exterior, often exaggerating their own importance. Yeah? Like many people do. But when it comes to, like, got caught, and you're dealing with me, you think you can handle that? Next one in the list. Pathological lying. You see, think about lies. There's no evidence of a lie. Lies are completely untrue. There's nothing to back it up. There's no fact. It never happened. There's no history of it. It is in fact a lie. And you know what? People love their lies. They are pathological about their lies. The system itself is one giant lie. And people use it to cover themselves. From their shame, from their low IQs, from their inability to think about things, people cover themselves with pathological lies. And if they don't have a lie, the media will give you a lie, so you can run around happily with your lie, yeah, thinking you know things, right? But then having no ability to actually solve any problems because they're all lies. And everything you think you know is a lie. And when someone tells you the truth, you treat that truth as a lie. And this is the problem we've got, isn't it? Between people with a conscience, people with standards, people with no standards and no conscience. Pathological lying. Psychopaths tend to lie frequently, often without a sense of guilt or shame. I think everybody who's not supported this should be deeply ashamed of themselves. Deeply ashamed of themselves. Deeply ashamed of themselves. Yeah? It's like you want the future of disabled children to be affected in such a way that they don't actually have a future. How psychopathic can you be? How selfish can you be? How uncaring? And it is a lie. It is a pathological lie where you say, well, that's none of my business. Right? Are we not sharing this planet? What do you mean it's none of your business? I don't think people understand what the word duty means, because without it, you couldn't even be here, mate. None of you could be here. Nothing would exist without duty. Again, it seems to point to the fact that people have no remorse or guilt or care or love, and that in those kinds of situations, people find themselves being psychologically tortured. Is that the word? Yes, I think that's as good a word as any. Psychologically tortured to actually coexist in a world of cruel bastards, cruel and wicked bastards. And what's worse is they all pretend that they've done something good today. They'll pretend they're nice. Oh, I help people. But only certain people. And if you're not the right person, then they turn into a Nazi, don't they? And that's part of the division that politics, the whole of politics, seems to create. It's almost like if we got rid of politics, would all these different ideologies at the same time disappear? Could we, in fact, now live in peace? Or would we still need some kind of standard with which to measure all behaviour by? And if people aren't complying, fulfilling their duty, then what? What should happen? What should happen? So psychopaths tend to lie frequently, like daily, all the time, to themselves, to other people. Build a whole system on it. Tell anybody that they better repeat the lie or else. Oh, what do you think I'm paying you for? To tell the truth? Oh, no. I pay you to tell lies and continue lying. Right? Impulsive and risky behaviour. They are often impulsive and engage in risky behaviour, often without regard for consequences, especially if it happens to other people. And you see, one of the things about the psychopaths in our society is that they're multiplying, aren't they? If they see somebody else not caring, they think that gives them a green light to also not care. Like, oh, well, they're not caring, so I'll also not care. Really? Is that how it works for you? Maybe in the world of psychopaths, it works like that. And we do have a problem with psychopaths in the world and other psychopaths above them who are trying to manipulate things and damage people so that they can take the blame away from themselves and put it on the person that they're attacking. Because psychopaths, being the godless creatures that they are, cannot create anything. So their entire existence is reliant on the fact that they must behave like a parasite and they must take from others who do produce. Psychopaths do not create anything. Psychopaths, are absent the creative spirit. Psychopaths are absent true imagination. That is the imagination of creating something that we need. Because the only way you're going to do that is to care about what people need. And psychopaths don't care about what people need. And since most of you behave like psychopaths who don't care what people need, I think it's starting to look more and more like you, isn't it? And it needs to be spoken about, because when we're trying to get something done, like justice, and there are obstacles in the way, I remove obstacles, I remove them. I remove obstacles. And one of the obstacles to society is the fact that there's too many frigging psychopaths in society, and they're walking around with rubber masks on like lizard people. Let's use that analogy because people like that analogy. They like to think that there's some elites out there with special privileges, but they're really aliens from another planet. Okay, that's a lot to prove. But I will use it like a metaphor for the cold, unfeeling monsters that look just like us, but within their mind, within their brains, within their heart and soul, they are monsters. Uncaring, unfeeling, demonic people. And in some cases, what we're not recognizing is that society is trying to create more of these people by causing injustice to the innocent. And when an innocent snaps, and the innocent does something that the public doesn't like, People have this lack of understanding, this sudden lack of comprehension that all of the problems actually came from the people being selfish in the first place. When that person asked you for help, what did you do? You turned your back on them like a selfish psychopath who is uncaring, who is a pathological liar. You know what makes you a pathological liar? The fact that you tell everybody that there's laws that we should obey, but then that means that we're supposed to be doing something good. So why are you not doing something good? Why are you exempt from doing good? Oh, well. Innit? Bag of excuses time. But never do the right thing. Always tell another lie like a psychopath. Yeah? History of antisocial behaviour. Psychopaths have a history of criminal activity and other antisocial behaviours, like stalking people for their music, telling lies about people because they're doing great music, you know? Trying to claim that music as your own when it blatantly isn't. And then try and suppress all of these facts when you know it's going to be such serious damages. I bet most people out there wish they could be in that position because they know that that's a guaranteed win. It's a guaranteed win. And this is why the suppression has to go on, because if the people was to ever realize for 1 second that these people, it's easy to deal with them. And they don't want you to do what I'm doing. They don't want you to look at things the way I look at things. They want you to continue to be selfish, indifferent, with your apathy, watching your Coronation Street, which rots your brain. You can tell me everything that's happening to fictional characters, but you can't tell me what's happening in real life. That's how retarded you are. Yeah? It's like talking to a 5-year-old who's playing He-Man, and he can tell you all about He-Man and Skeletor and how important that is. Oh, that's nice. That's nice, 5-year-old society. That's nice. It's actually dangerous to give most people in the world, I think, voting rights, because to tell them, well, you got the right to vote, but have you got the sense to vote with? I think you're just like a dangerous oppositional creature with your dangerous thinking, your dangerous psychopath behaviours, your uncaring behaviour. The fact that you're a liar, and so you let other liars get away with their lies because you don't mind more liars like you, right? You bunch of psychopaths, because you got to be. You got to be to let all of this happen, haven't you? You got to be a bit of a coward and a psychopath to allow all of that. Yeah? Everyone's big and brave after the fact. After, when nothing can be done anymore, everyone's big and brave. That's when I see people who are saying how big and brave they are. But not during. Not during. Or even before, in the lead up to. No. Always when it's been made safe for you to do it. Yeah? That's what people are. Gutless cowards with superficial charm, superficial grandiosity. Oh, I'm great, me. I'll help my buddies. I'll help anybody, me. Will you? Will you? Will you? Now's your time to prove it. Come on, put your money where your mouth is. So, lack of responsibility. Another psychopath behaviour. See, I'm very responsible. You got to be. When you're looking after autistic children, you've got to be responsible. Yeah? But not only that, it seems I'm surrounded by people who lack responsibility. And they often refuse to accept responsibility for their actions. Look at that. Their actions that they have done, they don't want to accept responsibility for it. Yeah? Seems to be a common behaviour right across society. This is why that woman in Australia who attempted to murder her best friend because he asked her for a sandwich, like that's normal, sane behaviour, and then all of the society is praising her, saying that'll teach him. How dare he ask a woman to make a sandwich? Are you that anti-man that you would praise something that is clearly a criminal behavior, clearly a psychopathic behavior. Is that what you're telling me? That 23,000 psychopaths said well done to the woman? I don't care what your fucking reason is. Yeah? You're a bunch of psychopaths. And it's time you accepted it with your cowardly, gutless selves. Yeah? Gutlessness is your number one problem. As well as brainlessness. Bunch of snivelling wretches. What are you good for? Absolutely nothing. You've not helped to find this information. You've not helped to expose the information. You're sitting there like you're good people. You disgust me. You are, in fact, according to the characteristics that I've just described, you're all, in fact, psychopaths. And this is why things can't get done. This is why we can't have nice things in the world, because you think you're not psychopaths. But everything you do, every behavior that you are learning and have learned and are in fact doing is the behavior of psychopaths. You seem to think that someone who's telling you about you being a psychopath, oh, that's a psychopath, you know, because you tell us that we're psychopaths. No, you're the fucking psychopaths. And decent people are sick and tired of the apathy, sick and tired of the indifference. Why don't you go to Mars and come off this planet? Come off this planet. You don't want to be a good person? Come off the planet. That's what I'm saying. When it comes to the battle of words, most people are nowhere to be seen. So we already know that what we're doing is justified. And the actions we take are justified. 100%. We've explained ourselves. We told you what we're going to do. We told you we're coming, and you still ignored us. So, whose fault is it when we're there and we're saying, we've come now, and you're like, I didn't expect you to come today. Oh, but I told you in advance. Many fucking times. And what do? Because I can see when you look at things. This is the thing. They'll look at your message. They'll just look. Not, oh, nice one. Not, oh, are you all right? Nothing. Because we live in a world of psychopaths. And I'm going to keep calling you that. And if you leave, good riddance. Because you're a psychopath. And I don't want psychopaths around me at all. You're useless. Psychopaths are actually useless. I wouldn't want a psychopath friend. You know, it's the same like having a crackhead friend. I don't want a crackhead friend. I don't want anyone on drugs. No, thank you. Go away. Go away. Same with alcoholics. Yeah? They're the next one. Behaving, stumbling around like friggin' oafs. Losers. That's what you are. Fucking losers. And that's why I separate myself from a lot of people. Because I don't like their behaviour. They don't get the chance to say, Jules, we don't like it. Because I'm never there. I don't choose to be around them. See, when you can build your own thing, and you're doing it, right? You're putting in the work. How dare anybody else think that they deserve what you have worked to create? How fucking dare you? Yeah? We need to go back to the times, like in the Middle Ages, I think, where we find the criminals and we start hanging and drawing and quartering them. Yeah? So there is a punishment that they are afraid of, that they will stop doing these things. Because I'd rather no punishment, because nobody did anything wrong. That's what I would rather. Yeah? I'm a person that exists in peace and tranquility when I am allowed. But when jealous little bastards think that they're going to have a go now, try some new little trick. I'm sick to death of all the tricks. I'm at the point where every last little son of a bitch is going to get called into court and going to absolutely destroy you. Absolutely. Absolutely. Destroy you. Make you look like clowns. Make you look like retards. Make you look like psychopaths, because that's what you are. And everybody's sick and tired of your games and your bullshit and your censorship and your ignorance and your apathy and your greed and every other sickening, selfish, sinful behavior that most of you have. It's not me imagining. I can show you facts, and I will be showing facts. As soon as I've dealt with this, everybody else, it's your turn. Be a cunt. Be a cunt, because you'll be famous for being a cunt. Believe me, with your antisocial behaviour and your lack of responsibility and your impulsive risky behaviours and your pathological lying and your superficial charm and grandiosity, yeah, your manipulation and deception, lack of remorse and guilt, lack of empathy, lack of feelings towards others. It can't possibly be me, can it? Having the lack of feelings towards you, because I'm fucking helping yous. You stupid bastards. That is the number one fucking problem, innit? Criminals are running around like they run everything because most of you are cowards and are gutless and brainless, fucking retards. And I keep saying it over and over and over, because you are. Because you are. And when I've earned that right, when I manifest a result that clearly shows it, yeah, I did an IQ test yesterday, just for the, just to see. No preparation, just did it. Oh, what the hell, I'll just do it, yeah? Now, I'm pretty sure that people who take those things and repeat their test could probably improve their result. But as it is, for a first test, I think I did all right, because I've never done that exact test before. And I had no idea what to expect. I have a better idea what to expect now, and I think in the future I will get a better result. I think a lot of the result has to do with time. I think because I was doing something else at the same time as answering those questions, if I had done them quicker, because I knew the answer, but I wasn't going, oh that. No, I was making sure I didn't make a mistake. I was being careful. But sometimes, if you're clever, you just know. And if you practice, like martial arts, you get quick and you get fast and you get deadly. Yeah? So, I think there's a lot of people out there with false IQ scores saying that they're actually super geniuses. Like, the rest of us are all just dummies. We're all just dummies, apparently. Average IQ is whatever. I don't mind, because what that shows me is that if I'm average IQ, what's everybody else? What is everybody else? But even the fact that if I am average, then I'm not abnormal, am I? I'm not an idiot. I'm not a crazy person. I'm not a stupid person who doesn't know what they're talking about. But I know very, very much so what I'm talking about. But because people, in their gutlessness, it's almost like centuries of not having a spine. Centuries of it. Just bred into them, spinelessness. Here's another spineless specimen. And another. Right through to the present day, where complete slimy, gutless people exist. And all they are is just lip service people. It's like, Aya, you're all right. Why ask that? Why ask, am I all right? You don't fucking mean that. You mean, are you all right? You want me to know you're all right? Because it's all about some kind of fucking competition, innit? For most people out there. It's not about the fact that we coexist. How about we all help each other? You selfish bastards. You selfish bastards is what you are. And the ones manipulating the censorship, they're also selfish. And they have led all of you into the selfishness. It is their fault. It's like I'm having to deal with sheep and children and things that are of a lesser intellect. And I'm having to take account for that. Like a bunch of, everybody's disabled. Everybody's somehow mentally retarded. Somehow, they can't understand basic things like, I own that music, and if you use it, I'll sue you. Somehow, they got to test that theory. And then when they come out bankrupt by millions of pounds, they're crying. They're crying about it. And they want everybody to say, oh, I didn't do anything wrong. Yeah? The technology will not save you. It will not hide what you're doing. It will, in fact, expose everything that you're doing. Because here we are, exposing it. You can see it. I posted about it. People know about it. So, nobody's pretending here. Let me tell you, ignorant people, yeah, you're going to pay the price. The ignorant people always pay the price. And the government actually have set it up that way so that the ignorant people pay the price. And then the government comes and says, oh, we'll be your saviors. We'll give you a solution to the problem. But what they're not telling you is that all of the problem was created by the government. And because of your ignorance, you are complicit. An example, when Hitler was taking the Jews into concentration camps, do you think the Germans didn't know? Of course they knew. And in that way, you're all guilty by association to the crimes of your leaders and the people that you allowed to get away with crimes. And you'll all cry, wouldn't you? You would all cry if something bad was to happen to those people for what they've done. You would all cry, wouldn't you? It's like you've got more sympathy for the criminals doing the crimes than you've got for the innocent people for who the crime was done to. Which is part of the psychopath, uncaring, callous behaviour. Psychopathic lying, pathological lying, pretending to be remorseful, pretending to care, when in fact you don't. That's an antisocial behaviour, isn't it? I don't know about you, but I demand that people in my crew are like me, in the sense that you've got loyalty. You better have loyalty. You better. If you're smart. People who know me, know me. And they know me so well. You know? It's like we're telepathic and we just agree, but we'll phone and say, oh, how are you doing? You agree? Yeah, of course I agree. But there you go. Because we know each other so well. Others who don't know, and they can only imagine what it is, and come up with bullshitty things to say like a little spastic fucking psychopath who's not there to try and offer any kind of comfort, but to almost rub salt into the wound like the little psychopathic bastards that they are. And I think our society, once it's done with the politics, really needs to start dealing with the people who are the problem. Imagine millions of psychopaths just walking around thinking, I'm doing good. I'm doing nothing wrong. I'm just spending money. I'm buying things. I'm consuming. What's wrong with that? How about everything's wrong with that? How about you're ungrateful? How about you have a duty, don't you? Because if you don't have a duty, then neither do I. Don't expect me to have a duty and you don't have a duty. That's not how it works. Crying that something has happened to you based on the fact that you don't have a duty, so no one gives a damn about your duty. You see how that works? Yeah? Because you're heading into a time, people, where your selfishness will be remembered. Yeah, of course it will. Of course it will. So you better know what you're doing. You better know that all this censorship that you're allowing is on your watch. Yeah? You're going to say, I'm not responsible for it. And I'm going to say, you are so responsible for it that just like all the other Nazis, you need to be hung alongside the ones you failed to stop. You need to line right up next to them in the gallows where they are, watch them go first, and then know that you are next. What's wrong with that? What's wrong with that? What's wrong with that? Hey? You can tell me there's some kind of morals now. But when it comes to actual morals of doing the right thing all the time, you pick and choose, you pick and choose. Very selfish. Very selfish. You know, like a bunch of monsters. Like a bunch of monsters. Yeah? People who lack any kind of conscience. Antithetical people. That's what they are. Antithetical. Now, I'm going to have to explain that word to the dummies, aren't I? What antithetical means. So we'll use the internet description, because even though you can type, and even though you can look it up, you are retards. And you can't actually do that because you needed somebody to hold your hand, guide you through knowledge. Because if you knew this, you'd already be there doing it. And you'd be coming to me. And people like me. I would have heard of you trying. But you don't try because you're selfish little bastards. And you're only concerned about what you can get right now. Not realising that in the very, very fucking near future, there will be nothing. Because you failed to stop the enemy at this point. You idiots. You who don't know what others know. Let's look up the word antithetical, shall we? Antithetical meaning. Right? For the dummies. Yeah? And I doubt dummies even want to know. So it can only be for the educated ones who stayed this long. Antithetical. Directly opposed or contrasted, mutually incompatible. I was talking about beliefs connected with, containing, or using the rhetorical device of antithesis. Now, most people are out there thinking that they're good people. You are the antithesis of what I call good. You're cowardly. You're uncaring. You're full of apathy. You're full of greed and selfishness. Ignorant. Are we trying to produce some kind of new type of caveman using a absolutely piss poor education system to really cause people to have a certain amount of brain damage? Because that's what it appears to be. And you add that to the modern technology, to the gaming and things like that, you know, on its long-term effects. It's antithetical to having a race of capable people, grown-ups. And what people are doing about it? Absolutely nothing, because they're too busy, go to work another day, getting their wages in and caring only about themselves like the selfish bastards they are. You've got a selfish bastard system. And in a selfish bastard system, you get punished like a slave. Doing slave shit for fuck all. And you could be free, but you're too cowardly for that. You're also too selfish for that. You're also too greedy for that. And too ignorant for that. Yeah? You're just turning the world into a world of Monsters, Inc. innit? Monsters Incorporated. Starring all of you and your ignorant fuckways. Because when it comes to the truth, when it comes to doing something about it, what have you done? What have you fucking done? Selfish bastards is what you are. And for selfishness, your reward is coming. Yeah? I keep telling you. Look at society. Look at what's happening. Look at how you are to blame. You love to point only at the leaders, never at yourselves. Of course you're to blame. Of course you are to blame. Anytime there's a problem, you're ignoring it. Anytime someone asks you for help, you're ignoring it. You're actually the world's worst cowards. And you'll never win another war because everyone here hates each other. And it's quite self-evident because anything important, nobody wants to do anything about it. Yeah, it's something very simple to do, isn't it? Very simple to write. You all can write your fucking names, can't you? Can't you? But it seems I'm surrounded by the planet of retards, the planet of the apes, the planet of the fool who does nothing continually, comes home, watches brain damage things, talks about brain damage things, gets up and does a brain damage job and repeats it endlessly. They've never built anything for themselves. And so anybody that has is like, well, there's some kind of hatred for that person who's tried. Yeah? Where is the support, people? I blame you for allowing Facebook to censor anything we do. It is your fault as much as it's their fault. And I'm going to put you all to shame because you deserve it. 100%. You are shameful bastards. Yeah? Sit there with your coward selves, only able to watch, not able to do anything about it. I'm going to win. And then what? Because I alone, well, not me alone, but me and my people will be all right. Who'll be helping you after that? Eh? You think I'm going to waste 1 second of my time when I can see what's going on here with a selfish nation of Nazi bastard psychopaths? Nazi order following psychopaths. Because that's what you're good at. If the Nazis tell you what to do, you'll follow that order. If something righteous needs doing, you don't want to do it because you are cowardly, you are selfish, you are greedy, and you don't want to help anybody. So if you don't want to help anybody, what do you think is going to happen to this country? What do you think is going to happen to this country and where it's going? When anybody with any common sense, something that is so easy to win, we've already won. That's the thing you don't understand. But you're sitting there like, oh, well, I don't care. Well, continue not to care. Yeah? When people get rewarded, their reward, make sure you continue with that same fucking attitude. Keep walking. Don't fucking look over here, mate. Yeah? Take your little traitor ass over to there where the traitors go. Line up against the wall with the Nazis. You know what's coming. You know what's coming. Yeah? Not even the dogs that piss on the wall will escape God's judgment. And all of you are seen for exactly what you are. You can see it. You can point it out. We can say, that's a measurable behaviour right there. Just looking, not saying anything. Right? Oh, yeah. What's that about? What's that about? Eh? It's okay. Don't ask for no reward. Do not. I'm okay with that. I'm really okay with that. But also, all behaviours will be expected, won't they? You can't expect anything else. You can't expect anything else, can you? So, with that, like I say, I've described antithetical and what psychopaths are, which is most of you, as well as the people who are leading, you know, but you all are kind of the same, you know, apart from the few that do care, and they would always see themselves as, that does not apply to me. That's why I don't have to, you know, apologise for saying what I'm saying. Because they know that it doesn't apply to them. Right? Here's another one. Right? You got plenty of people in this society that when you talk about something that you should give a damn about, you know, I'll give you an example. When somebody hurts a child, you give a damn about that, don't you? You give a damn about when somebody hurts a child. So it would be perfectly reasonable to have a reaction to that, wouldn't it? If you heard some news just now, let's say, for example, somebody's hurt a child somewhere, planet Earth was hurt, the natural, caring response would be what? I have to ask, because it seems that it gets rarer the older you get. It gets rarer to see that natural, caring response. What is it? It'd be to react in some way, wouldn't it? To have an emotional response. But to have no response whatsoever. Right? Now, there's a word out there that most people probably don't know. Yeah? Which again describes this type of psychopath that they are. Capricious. Meaning, given to sudden and unaccountable changes of mood and behaviour. In other words, for no reason. For no reason. Nobody did anything to them, but for no reason, they're now in a bad mood and they're taking it out on you. Some people might call it bipolar. You know? But capriciousness is when there is no reason. Now, the ability to fucking reason, you got to have a brain for that. I doubt most people do have a brain. And if they do have a brain, it's full of wicked and evil, twisted thoughts. And certainly not full of caring thoughts and compassionate thoughts. Yeah? And trying to help thoughts. You know? So the ones that are capricious and have unaccountable changes of mood and behaviour. For example, when I'm sharing this information saying, hey, Facebook's stolen our music. And rather than say, oh my God, mate, that's horrible. Whoa, I hope you're all right. They're like, oh, block. Block. Right, so that seems like a capricious psychopath, doesn't it? Doesn't it? A capricious psychopath who only cares about themselves. Somehow that information, I don't want to even hear that information. It's too much. Well, of course, you know, but is it not too much for me also? What makes you think that I deserve it? See, that's part of the selfish behaviour, isn't it? That's part of the selfishness. Yeah? Capricious, unaccountable changes of mood and behaviour based on people who are supposed to be good people. All these people claim that they're good. Really? Well, there's evidence to suggest you're not. And that evidence will be coming out once we dealt with this case. Oh, yeah. Carry on being Nazi super bastards. And we'll award you with the Medal of Cowardice. Believe you me. Because it's disgusting what you are. You're like monstrous things. Yeah? So, what time is that? Yeah, that's enough. That's enough. You know? But, no, for certain, this claim's still going on. You can, as Negan says, you can laugh, you can fucking cry, you can shake, you can dance, you can do whatever. But you're going to watch as we do this from your little shadows of cowardice peering from behind the rock because you don't want to be up front with it. Truly disgusts me. And I'm telling you now, if you can't even talk, if you can't even support the talk for the right things, how the fuck are you going to win back a country, you stupid bastards? You cannot, you stupid bastards. Every bit of common sense and knowledge that can be used, whether in a sentence or just trying to demonstrate and explain how we can get ourselves out of these problems. And you people don't even want to fucking know. Like the selfish, capricious, psychopath bastards that you are. And then you got the nerve to go around calling this and that one. You know, saying, I'm a good person because I'm against paedophiles. When you people are not too far behind the behaviour of paedophiles, in the sense that you don't fucking care. Whose children has it got to be before you fucking care? I'm doing this for my children, as well as for your fucking children. You selfish, capricious bastards. You retarded Nazi bastards who sit there day in, day out. What you fucking doing? Nothing is the answer. Your name will not be in no history book, except as the capricious, psychopathic, bastard retards that you are. And with that, have a think about it. And let's see if tomorrow your responses and your behaviour has improved. Because this is not going to end. We're coming for our fucking money. Zuckerberg, I want my fucking money. Anybody else connected to it, you better have money. And that's why people are running away. That's why they know they can't deal with it. Well, not my problem, is it? It's your fucking problem now. You're going to have to fucking deal with it. I've told you, people, time and time again, start show support. There are fucking consequences for cowardice. There are cowards out there not doing what they're supposed to fucking do. Talking like they're a great fucking nation when I see a bunch of cowards who can't organise fuck all. So when I start fucking leading, coming up front and saying, get the fuck out of my way, boy, you'll be like, oh, what are you? What's wrong with you? No, why are you fucking up everyone's life? Even pretending that you can fucking lead. You can't fucking lead. You can't fucking lead. And I will not be led by psychopaths. I will not be led by heartless bastards who don't give a shit. Time is getting short for all of you people, but especially Zuckerberg and his accomplices. You piss me off, mate. You little criminal organisation, yeah? Your big tech censorship, all of that, you're getting punished. You are going to get so fucking punished. This is why you hide things. And anybody that thinks that it's not going to happen, watch. You're going to fucking wish it was you. Except you haven't got the guts to do it. You haven't got the guts to walk in a court and sue somebody. Which is a simple, easy thing to do. It's a lawful thing to do. You fucking retards will be the reason there's a civil war because you're fucking retarded. And you don't solve problems with your brain. That's your fucking problem. What can I do except rant about it? I'm going to sue motherfuckers for big motherfucking money. That's what I can do. It's already happening. I don't actually need any. I could be silent. I've been silent about many things. Why should I be silent now? No, had enough. If I start talking, everyone's going to run away. Oh, what can I do? No, ask yourself, what can't I do? People, you better wake the fuck up, because there ain't nobody out there in your fucking corner. I don't care what you say. Nobody's in your corner. Nobody will defend you. Nobody will help you. You think that you're going to enter into this thing and the judgment won't also affect You? When a man works to provide for his family, he's doing his best, isn't he? So, woe fucking betide any motherfucker that tries to undermine what work a man can do. We've had that bullshit for far too fucking long. Now we've got the fucking technology to tell people about it. Where are the fucking people? So we've always got the same problem. Retarded, selfish bastards. About what can we do? Well, maybe we need to get rid of retarded, selfish bastards and only invest in clever bastards. Yeah? Clever bastards will do things. Yeah? Like sue motherfuckers who think they're smart. With that, I've got things to do. Yeah? I'm not wasting my time on a bunch of fucking losers. Yeah? A nation of fucking losers who can't even fucking stay awake or do anything that helps the situation. Yeah? Bunch of silent knobheads. Why should I respect you? Why? Give me a reason to respect you. Yeah? Because I don't see any. I don't see any reasons to respect anybody out there. Not worthy of it. That's what it is. Not fucking worthy of respect. And then people will say, oh God, why have you forsaken me? Well, remember this, because this is one of the reasons. And there'll be many more voices out there talking similar things where you're ignoring it because you're selfish bastards. Why would God even save any of you when you're all such selfish bastards? Do you think this thing called mercy exists while you continue to be selfish? Fucking deluded, aren't you? You must be. And again, all of this is to raise awareness. Not so you could help us to win, because we already won. What you need to do is wake up for yourselves. Wake up for your fucking selves before things like this happen to you. And all of a sudden your data is being used against you. Yeah? Or maybe you're already a slave, and so it doesn't really matter because you're just not important. You're just not important enough that they would ever even try because you've never made anything. You never created fuck all. And that's why you can sit there with your selfish selves thinking, I'm all right, Jack. And when the bad shit happens to you about something else, you're going to wish that you knew how to deal with it. But anybody that knew how to deal with it, they're going to tell you to fuck off. Because you are, in fact, selfish, Nazi, psychopath bastards who only care about yourself. You better fix the fuck up, people. Fix up.